Hello, welcome to Culturally Responsive Teaching, Linguistic Diversity, and ESOL. So, culturally responsive teaching teaches and connects students' culture, languages, and experiences with what they are learning. It's important because it connects students' culture, language, and life experiences to help learners develop higher order thinking. Culturally responsive teaching has seven principles: inclusive, get to know your students, have high academic expectations for your students. Display culture in the classroom. Incorporate visuals into your lessons. Multicultural curriculum. Hear cultural students' experiences. Build relationships with students and families. Know your students' names. So the two images I chose here is what's in a name. Very popular in English literature. What is in a name? The second image is of a lady who is named Amal. She does a bit for TED Talk about a Muslim on an airplane. And when we stereotype or when we look at somebody, the way they dress, the way they look, skin color, there are preconceived notions of who that person is. But until you learn what their name is, there is a lot to be said for a person's name. How to be a culturally responsive teacher. Make your lessons relevant. Include the learners in their learning process. Integration of educational technology with high quality digital content, personalized learning with technology, open the lines of communications and promote the student voice. It's super important. Here we have a little comic. Hey, teach, why are we learning some ridiculous math function? It's super important to know your students and so that you can make those cultural connections to their lives and their life experience. These two images here I use in class quite often for refugees. Refugee crisis is when we talk about different things and different subjects. Refugees of all nationalities, religions, races, ethnicities are being persecuted. Therefore, how do we solve the refugee crisis around the world? When you look at these two images are the one on the right is from the southern border of the United States. The one on the left are refugees from the Ukrainian crisis currently happening. And so these two images really show no differences. And so it's important to know the different cultures, the ethnicities, the issues, the situations, so that you can teach effectively and touch base into those students' expectations and traditions of culture. You want to be a hook and an anchor. Draw students into content using past experiences. At my high school, we have a lot of students who have gone on the journey that are refugees that have settled in Cincinnati. So use the strengths of students to promote a sense of identity, promote equity and inclusion in the classroom, engage students in the course material, and support critical thinking. We need to connect their past to their present so that we can guide them in the future. Build relationships. I think number one effective teaching tool is to build relationships with your students. Ask your students questions about themselves. Let them share their experiences. Talk about their experiences. If we take an interest in them, they will take an interest in the content of the classroom. Linguistic diversity in ESOL and ELL is the study of English by speakers who are not native speakers of English. Common problems are teachers speak too fast, teachers are hard to understand, students get frustrated. A lot of the English language learners struggle when trying to learn a new language and also apply the concepts for a classroom subject in the new language. I've had multiple students who have come through my social studies classroom who understand United States history, but they don't understand English. So we have to make the connection. One of the ways to make the connection is educational technology, using different resources for digital literacy to find new ways to incorporate technology tools to bridge the gap of linguistic diversity. And so on my last slide, I wanted to show you some educational technology tools that I have used in the past. Picto for me, Read and Write for Chrome, Imagine Learning, Seesaw, BrainPop, ESL, Google Translate. You can also always rely on subtitles in YouTube, Khan Academy. New York Times was a great example because of how the simple writing using basic English. Newsla is also another great resource that you can use for translating. Um, at the end of the day, a student who is English language learner or ESL, ELL, ESOL, do not be afraid to just use Google Translate.